Hello internet friends, Ryan here. First off, I'd like to thank everyone for writing in their psychedelic inquiries. I'm super excited to read what you guys are wondering about and to attempt to help you guys make sense of some things. But before we jump into that, I thought it would be good to give you a little bit of a background on why I'm even doing this. I'd say it was about 3 years back. I was at the apex of my suffering. Super anxious, I was super depressed, and I had a really bad problem with alcohol. The only way I was able to find relief was through psychedelic psychotherapy. And ever since these medicines have saved my life, I've dedicated all my free time to learning about how they work and to learning about how I can help others not feel like how I used to feel. I started reading every book I could get my hands on, watching every lecture I could find on YouTube, attending every lecture that was happening around me. But the two main lessons that have come through to me are that set and setting are almost more important than the substance you'll be consuming, and that these medicines are not happy pills, these aren't cures, these are tools that you use to heal yourself. And the best way to do that is to bring some of the wisdom out of the psychedelic experience into your day-to-day life through integration, through making sense of what happened. And that's why we're here today. So, without further ado, let's hop into it. I would say taking a microdose is more like, for your anxiety, is more like putting a band-aid on it and running away from the daily anxieties that you are coming across. A more effective way would be to treat the core of the issue, which you would be able to do with a large dose ceremony. So I would be more inclined to go for the macrodose to treat an anxiety disorder rather than a microdose. If your mushrooms are completely crispy dry, you can keep them for quite a long time. If there's any sort of moisture in there, they will mold up and they will go bad. So if you make sure those puppies are super dry, you'll be good. I'm not sure how to quantify my friedness. But I don't know, I think it's funny when people, like when you talk about psychedelics and people talk about how it makes you fried. A cup of coffee is more neurotoxic. It's worse for your brain than psilocybin. So I don't know, think about that. I'll take the whole fruiting body. The cap and stems being different and fluctuation of psilocybin is not a real thing. Every mushroom's different and every piece of the mushroom is different. It's gonna fluctuate, so that's baloney. Well, I think that like smelling good and keeping tidy are kind of constructs of the Western society, and for the most part, I mean, people that look dirty, that are qualified as a psychonaut, are generally just don't worry about silly things that don't matter, I think is just the gist of it. Free yourself from your shackles, my friend. If you're trying to get at the core of what's making you feel crazy, take mushrooms. Because when you use a psilocybin, it's more of an unpredictable experience. There's more of like an external intelligence kind of guiding the ceremony, for the lack of better terms. If you're trying to work on specific type of things, I think it is better to work with LSD. Seven. When first getting into this subject, I would recommend going to maps.com, which is the Multiple Disciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies. It's a nonprofit organization that's behind the psychedelic renaissance that we find ourselves in. So go there, they have a bunch of free books. I think before you even think about going into a ceremony, I think an extensive amount of education is key. So I think that would be the best place to start. If you're seeing clowns and Gene Simmons, it seems like maybe you've got something ingrained in your brain, which would be clowns and Gene Simmons. So I don't know, that's probably why you're seeing it. There might be something deeper there, so I don't know. I would sit with that. I would go towards the clowns. Ask them why they're there. Who knows? You could find out something that you need to know. Honestly, I would be dead. When I found psychedelics, I was so extremely suicidal. I had just attempted to hang myself about a week before, and the thing I tied the rope to broke. So luckily that happened, and I'm still here, and I was able to find the source of my pain and find relief. I can't stress that enough, that these medicines straight up saved my fucking life. So there's that. I think the idea of becoming burnt or making your brain mushed is a product of a lot of misuse. I think that, or when you're on psychedelics, you are like putty. You can mold your brain, you can change it into whatever mechanisms you're ingraining in it at that particular time. So if you're taking a psychedelic all the time at a party and trying to like play it cool, and like, you're gonna like get ingrained in some toxic bad mechanisms. Don't abuse these and take these all the time in bad settings, because then you can get worked into bad mechanisms. You can get worked into bad habits. That's when you're most susceptible to change. So if you're always changing yourself in a negative way, it's gonna come through in your day-to-day life. So I think that your fears are grounded in the misuse of psychedelics. I kind of can relate to that, my friend. I personally, though, had some trauma tied to holding my pee, and I sat with that, and that's what I figured out, and I found out that I'm almost always holding my pee and in a more anxious state because of it. So I don't know, maybe you have some sort of lesson you need to learn, and I don't know, let me know. I wish you the best, my friend. Love you.